All right, so first, I want to start off with a quote by Nathaniel Branden. He wrote the book 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. Your life is important, honor it, fight for your highest possibilities. Everyone has a life purpose, and your life purpose might even be to find a purpose in life. And successful people, whether it's in the music industry or wherever, they take the time to understand and discover their life purpose, and then they pursue that with passion and enthusiasm. And without this compass, which your life purpose is really guiding you to what you should be doing to fulfill you, without that, you might climb the ladder and realize that it's been leaning against the wrong wall the whole time. And you see that with like very wealthy people who commit suicide or something. Like they are not fulfilled, even though they have all this material possession. Next slide, please. This is a video that kind of captures the essence of why you want to find a purpose. Yeah, it's a pretty short video. Let's watch it. Cool. What do you guys think?
You realized he was gonna die as soon as that was
Yeah. What I take is like, it's very casual, rather, this whole lecture. My take was like, he knows he's gonna die. It's either you live in fear your whole life and you're just afraid of everything, or like you find a joy in what you do, and you die happy, which is kind of, I think, the essence of what we're trying to get for you guys. Die happy.
He was good at falling. Once he realized he was good at falling in that little transformative moment, and he achieved his life purpose.
So next slide, please. This is, goddamn, this is not what it's supposed to look like, but the idea is we find your values first, because your values, we find your values and your strengths, because that's gonna really help us triangulate what we should focus your life purpose on. Values, because that's gonna be what you find fulfillment in. Like a secret of a happiness is like it doesn't matter what you have. It's the trajectory of your life towards your values that brings you fulfillment. And we also want to look at your strengths, because you want to get the most impact possible. And life purpose, that's supposed to be a circle with life purpose being your zone of genius plus impact statement. We'll go more into this later. And your domain of mastery and ideal medium.
And the problem is the slide is the projector is bleaching out the colors.
Yeah. So it's supposed to look like this, like values, strengths, life purpose. Yeah. And this is your LP. Cool. Next slide. So first, we're gonna find your guys' values. This whole lecture today is gonna be very interactive. I'm gonna run a lot of exercises with you guys, and this is the key to really finding and actively finding what your life purpose is gonna be. Do you need a pen or paper? Yeah, Martin, this one.
I have some paper for it.
So please get out your pen and papers. And we want to start off with values first, because of what I said. Can you get the next slide when you can? So values is going to help you with happiness. The trajectory of your life is happiness. It's going to help you express your authentic self, which is pretty big for musicians too. A lot of the times you're trying to find your own style and your own niche. That becomes a lot easier when you start living through your values and you become more authentic, and your life becomes expression versus trying to be something you're not. And that's a lot more powerful. And it's going to benefit you with creativity and better relationships and self-esteem, which is huge when it comes to music. It's not just the technical stuff. Decisions, it's gonna if you need to make big decisions, if you know your values, what seems like a hard decision, it's gonna be very simple to make. You just look at your values and oh, this is what I value more, so I'm gonna go with this. And that ties into goal setting. 90% of the goals people have, usually they're not intrinsic values. They're stuff that your parents told you to do or whatever, and you can just eliminate all the ones that that that's not what you want, that's not going towards your values, and now you can focus on what is going to fulfill you. And lastly, it's going to triangulate where your life purpose, where we should be looking at, so we know where your life purpose is going to be. Because this, I'd say this is, say this is a forest, and there's a clearing in the middle. You'd be in here, right? And then your life purpose is, say, right here. That's where you want to go. This path going towards here is going to be the road of happiness in a way. Like this is gonna fulfill you. This is gonna bring you a lot of meaning. Being on that road is gonna make you be able to impact the world better, like stronger. Until we find out where your life purpose is, we don't know this road. So like you might be wandering around, like going for like a career in like finance, which you don't care about, or like economics, like I did. So yeah, I don't care. Like, give a fuck about it. And so this is what we're gonna be looking at, and values is gonna help like give us an idea of where we should be pointing at. Cool. So yeah, we're gonna jump into exercises now. I want you to keep in mind to remove outside influences, such as like what you think your parents would want for you, and what you think your friends would want, and or like what would give you status among your friends. Like, try to limit that as much as possible, but don't limit yourself with like fears of like or like impracticalities. Like this purpose is too big for me, because that magnitude will scare you, but also be a huge motivational factor. Okay, next slide. First exercise is going to be, what is most meaningful to me? That's the question. Write it on top of your paper. And what you guys are going to do, I'm going to give you some time. Write out 30 things that are meaningful to you. And you kind of have to ponder to yourself, like, what is meaningful to me at all? Like, what is meaning even? And go with your gut feelings. Write out 30. Don't second guess yourself. And the only wrong answer is going to be an answer that isn't like truly you, and it doesn't like it feels wrong to you. That's going to be a wrong answer. So go ahead and write out 30 things that are meaningful to you. Cool. All right. So you guys got a lot? No one's like had too much difficulty with that? Okay, next slide. So now I want you to look at all the values here. This is like a pretty comprehensive list of like master values that you can think of that like resonate with like most humans. And go through each individual one, and I want you to write down every single one that you think, wow, this is meaningful to me. Okay? So like adventure, if you find adventure meaningful, write that down. And do it. Try to limit it to around 20. Pick your top 20. And go ahead and do that. Now you have a list of 20 values, right? Or 20 or so. Go and pick out your top 10. It's going to be very easy for like the first 7 or so, and then the last 3 you're going to kind of have to like eliminate some. But like figure out the best way, I think, is to like figure out which one is like least important. You're going to know which one's like most important, and then just get the top 10. Narrow it down. So if you happen to have these as your top 10 values, any of the red ones, these are what we call trap values or toxic values. They're usually sometimes you can like sex, you could really value sex. Like you can really see the value and meaning of like having a great intimate relation with someone. That's perfectly cool. But usually these are values that are impressed onto you by society, and they tell you like this is important, this is kind of what you need to value, or your parents or friends or something like that. And it's usually not in line with your true values. And you want to be very careful with these, and you want to be aware of it. So if look over the red ones, if you have any on your list that are on here, really question yourself, is that something that I really find like meaning in? Chances are it's not, and if it's not, like cross it out and then replace it with a different value. And you can do it like for a minute. Also, if you cross it out, write it on the side. We're gonna want to keep that in mind for later.
So I had one, but
Yeah.
I strongly believe that it's
Meaningful for you?
yeah.
Yeah, then perfect. Keep it on there.
Also, like it's not. I kind of like modified it a little bit.
That's fine.
It's not exactly that.
Yeah, that's totally legit. Yeah. Now we're gonna go through each of your top 10 values, and then you're gonna ask yourself, what does each value mean to you? Like let's say if value is adventure, what is adventure? Adventure for me, for one person it could be like traveling the world. It could be like that kind of adventure. Another adventure to me could be like doing something scary every day. That's a totally different type of adventure. So what is it to you? Write down a sentence or two that kind of like captures the essence of that value to you. And you want to be as specific as possible.
For all 10.
For all 10, just 10 sentences. So what we're gonna do after you guys are finished writing all that out is we're gonna rate your congruence with that value that you are currently right now. So if the value is adventure, and you value it, but you're not currently doing any adventurous things or what you define as adventure, you might have a lower rating. If every day you're going out and having an adventure, you're gonna have like a higher rating. So write down out of 10, like what number you feel like you are in each of those values, and just quick like a gut feeling. If you think it's low number, high,
Right.
All right, yeah. Next one. So now that you guys kind of have an idea of what the values mean to you, I want you to re-rank them with the top being the most important value to you and the bottom being the least important. And if you're having trouble between two, you want to ask yourself, if I had more of value A and less of value B, would I be satisfied or more fulfilled? Or if I had more of value B than value A, would I be more satisfied or fulfilled? So go ahead and re-rank it.
So you want what if you want achievements and helping others? So if you don't have any achievements, are you really helping others? But if you aren't helping I don't know. It's just the way I see it. You really can't have one without the other.
Gotcha.
I know that achievement, the way that you put it up there, is definitely different from the meaning I'm interpreting that as. But because achievement slash success.
Yeah.
Helping others is I feel almost not relatable.
So would you rather help others and not achieve much, or would you rather achieve a lot?
Well,
But you're saying achievement is helping others, right?
Yeah, that's the.
Then your problem is that you have two values that you identify as identical, but you have it represented as two values. So just choose which one you think captures that value more for you. And then I'd say cross out the other one and then put it in a different value. Because if achievement for you is helping others, then which one captures the essence? One's gonna be bigger than the other. One's gonna be inside the other.
Yeah.
So
one cool way to think about this is
So
highways. So each value is its own separate highway, and if you had to navigate through life using a certain value, which highway would you rather take?
So now go through the values, the top 10, and then ask yourself what's the ratio of positive versus negative motivation. And what I mean by that is positive motivation is you have a positive reason to go for this value. If it's helping others, that's most likely why do you want to help others? What's the motivation behind that? Do you want to help others because you love seeing people being happy or something? That's a positive motivation. Negative motivation would be you want to go to help others because you want to move away from something. So if it's wealth, let's say that's one of your values. If you want wealth because you're afraid of being broke, that becomes a negative motivation. If you want wealth because you want to help others with that money, positive motivation. Okay? So get a ratio of each value, what percent is positive, what percent is negative, and out of 100. So if it's 40% negative motivation, your parents want you to do this for some reason, and 60% positive, write down 60 positive, 40 negative, or PNN. And then just gut feeling, you don't need to go 73%, just go general number. Awesome. Okay, next one. So now you know which values. Actually, go back one more. Find values that are 40% or more negatively motivated, and go ahead and circle it. Those values are, well, you want to find the common theme as to why you're being negatively motivated to one of your highest values. It could be your parents, you're negatively motivated by your parents. By pursuing this value, you're gonna stop pain between your relationship. That could be possible theme across this across your values. So try to just think a little bit about what the possible themes could be as to why you're getting these negative motivations. Just keep that in mind. Okay, and now next step. Now that you know the essence of your negative motivations, the source of it, and now you're understanding why you might have put this value where it is in the order, go ahead and re-rank it now with awareness of the negative motivations. And if it's the same, that's okay too. And after this, you're going to have your top 10 value list, which is going to be super important for our next stuff. Step 2 is we're going to find our strengths. And life isn't so much about fixing all the little problems you have in your life. What we want to do is we want to find the innate strengths you have, and then we want to leverage that to kind of like a volume knob. We want to turn up the volume on the innate strengths you guys already have. and we're going to use that to make the maximum impact on the world as possible. So get out your phones. If you have a laptop, use your laptop. And next slide. Go to this website, viacharacter.org, and there's going to be a short survey. It's going to take about 15 minutes. It's pretty fun, and then get that, and you're going to find out your strengths. So this guy, this is like a scientific project done by them. He identified 24 comprehensive human strengths, and he listed them out, and it'll scientifically like give you a list of your top strengths.
This is actually my favorite one to do. It's so cool.
Seeing like what your strengths are.
What you're good at, yeah.
Pretty cool.
Again, gut feelings. Don't overthink it. Just do gut feelings.
Yeah, this should be pretty quick.
If you're spending more than a minute on each question, shouldn't be.
Yeah, so when you're done, just do another gut check. Make sure that your top 5 strengths are really representative of your strengths. Like skim through the other ones, other possibilities. And if you feel like 3 or more of your top strengths are incorrect, like replace them with like strengths you kind of know you have. But what's interesting is you might not even know that you have these strengths. Cool. So now you guys have your values. You guys have your strengths. At least a very more than general idea than we had before. And now we're going to move on to life purpose. I think next slide. All right, back one slide. So life purpose is zone of genius plus impact, domain of mastery, and ideal medium. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to prime you guys to kind of find out these big 2. Next slide. So this is going to be a real quick 2-minute 3-minute visualization. If you guys are done with the survey, if you keep doing the survey, like keep going at it. If you're done, like close the laptops, like and then we're gonna do this like quick visualization. So what I want you to do is just relax, close your eyes, and really try to imagine this with me. Okay. So you wake up, you look at your bank account, and you find $100 million in your bank account. Really visualize the money there. Like you can see it there. Like you own this. You own $100 million. So now what do you do? What's the first thing you want to do? If that's like you want to buy a yacht, you want to go party, drink, do drugs, that's fine. So let's say you do all of that, and 2 months go by. You're just partying every day, having sex, doing drugs, and 2 months of it go by, and now you're all partied out. You wake up the next day, sun's coming up, you're in your new house, and you ask yourself this question: what do I want to do? Really, really get into the moment. You have all the money in the world that you need. What do you do? What's the next thing you do? Just think about that for 2 minutes. Okay, when you thought of a couple things, open your eyes. If you need to think more, take your time. Still got a couple minutes. Okay, open your eyes. So this it removes the factor of success and needing to follow your life purpose because you want monetary gain. And you really dig deep to find what's your motivation, your innate motivation. And next slide, please. Chances are what you would do after you received all that money lies into one of these higher consciousness values. And these values, it's separate from the values we just generated before, because this is going to be the guiding value for how you impact the world versus what you have for yourself. And this value will be the main thrust of your career and why you want to do anything. And so think about what you just thought of, and then which value, choose two. Which two values would you say would capture, the motivation that you had, and write them down. Yeah. So what you thought of as to what you do with all the money, it's usually guided by a higher consciousness value. Like this, one of these captures what you would do. So get two of those. And then once you get two, find the stronger of the two and circle that one. Yeah, next one. You guys read it all, right? If you haven't, you can always find it on YouTube. So this exercise, we're gonna skip this, but write down. Go back. Write down 5 different times in your life that you felt inspired, excited, passionate. What I wanted to do with this one was, so what happened in your life that gave you inspiration, excitement, and passion? And I wanted you guys to go back to that moment and really try to figure out what was it that inspired you and motivated you to do anything. And it would tie into that first exercise that we did. But now you kind of have an idea of what it would innately motivate you and what has motivated you in the past. So let's move on to life purpose. Okay, let me break down. It's supposed to be a circle and everything's supposed to be in there like that. So zone of genius is what is the area that you're passionate about, but you're also strong in. The impact statement is how do you want to change the world. The domain of mastery is what am I willing to spend 10,000 hours to master. This is going to be what you're going to be focusing on your life to master. And the ideal medium is through what medium will I apply my zone of genius to impact the world. Next slide. Yeah. So this is pretty necessary. It's going to be a pretty quick one. Answer these questions. You don't have to write out the question, just answer them. What do I love to do so much that I can do it for long stretches of time without getting bored? You know what? We're gonna. This is very important, and if you guys have the time, come back to it. But we're gonna do the most important questions on here. So number 4, just answer that one. So answer that. Okay, next slide. So part 2, answer number 2. When I'm at my best, the exact thing I'm doing is, and best is broad, so you guys can make your own meaning for that. The exact thing I'm doing is I don't know, write out a couple and then choose one. Okay, next one. The impact statement is what impact could I have on the world that would be meaningful to me? Really think about this one and write out one sentence. What impact would you have on the world that would be meaningful to you? You guys done? Cool, next slide. Okay, so before we find your life purpose, I want to run you through a couple quick examples, just so you kind of know how to put yours together. So, for example, the computer programmer, his zone of genius is understanding and model machine learning, and he wants to create machines that learn faster than humans, advancing human knowledge. So his life purpose, you just add them together: understanding and modeling machine learning to create new AI that can advance human knowledge. Very simple, nothing grandiose. Your life purpose should be very simple, but also very impactful. His ideal medium is C++. That's something we're gonna have to figure out for you guys. For me, my ideal medium of my zone of genius is self-development, and my impact is to help people achieve success. And my life purpose would be to use my understanding of self-development to help people achieve success. And my ideal medium is speaking, YouTube videos, or online stuff. And the domain of mastery is what skill do you need to master to be able to make any of this happen? And for a computer scientist, it would be computer science, AI research. If you're a musician, it might be a couple of things, like production, stage performance, whatever. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna bring it together. Hopefully on a new piece of paper, if you have one, just really quickly, write down your top 3 values, write down your top 3 strengths, the highest consciousness virtue that you want to build your life around, the domain you want to commit to mastering, the top 3 moments that inspired me, we can skip that, zone of genius, and impact statement. So come to the zone of genius, and when you're filling that out, you want to make sure that and the impact statement is really you, and it should almost be an emotional trigger. Like you should be like, wow, that's really meaningful. And then if that is really meaningful, combine them together and you have your life purpose.
Which should sort of be the big aha moment.
Yeah, and once you have your life purpose, circle that shit, start it. This is pretty awesome stuff. You know your life purpose. Most important things would be the last two, the zone of genius and meaningful impact. And then next slide. This is pretty much the climax of our presentation. This is your, what we call the me sheet. This is going to be a representation of you and you know, your mission in life. You know, so go, if you know, write this down somewhere or like print it out somewhere and have a lot of copies of these like around your place. And so what you want to do is just fill this out like on a piece of paper and be able to view it, like put it somewhere where we can see every day. And like an assignment I'm going to give to you guys is to read this every single day for 30 days, in the morning, whenever. Like what that does is we'll do another lecture on it, but it's like subconscious programming, where your subconscious is now so flooded with these ideas that it becomes almost innate, and like you realize your life purpose, you know, without even having to think about it anymore. So write this out. You know, you don't have to do it right now, but definitely do it. It's gonna help you know your values and strengths by heart, so you won't have to always be going back to it. You'll know who you are, essentially. Another assignment is to get one step closer to realizing your purpose every day. That means working on your zone of genius, your impact that you want to give, and your ideal medium. You want to master that, and work on that at least an hour a day. And with that, next slide. So, just to wrap it up, your life is important. Honor it. Fight for your highest possibilities. Now you guys know the direction of your journey. You guys haven't really begun yet. Like you know your values. You know what's going to bring you fulfillment. You know what your strengths are. You know the tools you have. And you know the direction of the journey, but you haven't started yet. We're gonna back to this model. All we found out today is where this is. We found out first where we should be looking at with your values. We found out how you're gonna get there through your strengths, and now we have a less general, a more specific life purpose that we've identified. And the question is now to get there, and that itself is gonna be another whole journey, and we'll work with you guys on that process too. But for now, that's the end of the life purpose seminar. Hope you guys learned a lot. Cool.